Saturday and we have something in the mail. What is it?
It's another food box. I don't remember which it's from though.
Alright, I'm gonna go pick it up. So we have a bargain box. I think we got 5 nights for 4, so 20 meals. But it should last us the whole week, hopefully, and I'm going to cancel it because I don't want to keep subscribing to it right after this. But,
Just testing it out and see what we get.
oh, it says fragile over here.
Yes.
There we go.
Alright.
So let's see what we have.
Bunch of stuff.
So we have,
This will be interesting to try to fit in the fridge.
yeah, a little packet of, I presume, recipes? Yep, recipes. So we have red pesto grilled fish, crispy Japanese chicken, chicken noodle soup, classic beef meatloaf, and pulled beef and cheese pizza. That sounds really interesting. Pulled beef. Okay, let's see what we have in here. So we have a thing of bok choy. We have a thing of lettuce. And what's that? Oh, Japanese spice flour. Panko breadcrumbs. Jasmine rice. A head of broccoli. Another head of broccoli. And we have beef spices, soup spices, some crispy noodles, a bag of spinach. What is this? It says regular mega. It feels like a ginger? I'm not sure. Oh, okay. It is a ginger and a couple cloves of garlic. We have a bag of potatoes and another bag of potatoes. And we have a tomato. And we have sesame seeds. We have an apple,
There's a big apple.
an onion, and another onion. And is that a white carrot? Or is that a radish? Anyway. And we have 1, 2, 3. We have 5 carrots.
Okay.
And
And then what is all this? Is this all the...
oh, and we have pizza bases. It
Okay.
looks like a little thick pita bread or something like that.
And is this all frozen stuff?
I'm not sure.
Or just refrigerated stuff?
It's kind of heavy. So let's see what we have in here. And over here we have a bag of slaw mix, some sauce, this red pesto. We have some fresh egg noodle. We have tomatoes paste. Is it tomato paste? A bag of sweet corn, a bag of peas, some Colby cheese, grim fish fillet, or fillets as they say it here. I still can't get over that. Oh, and we have 2 ice packs. And we have pulled beef. And we have free-range chicken thigh fillet, skinless. Beef mince, which is pretty much ground beef. And we also have free-range chicken breast fillet. So skinless chicken breast, skinless chicken thighs. And then we have 2 more ice packs. And that's it. That's all we have. So I guess we should put these things away.
Yeah.
I managed to put all of the stuff in our little fridge It barely fits in there, but it's in there. So we've decided to start with this one. That's the crispy Japanese chicken with crunchy sesame sauce slaw. The little menu, and you flip that to the other side. It tells you the ingredients and the directions. So I'm gonna go gather the stuff. Alright, so I got all the ingredients we need. So for the rice, we have boiling rice, boiling water, which I'll get, and then salt. And then for the chicken, I have the chicken, the Japanese spice flour, salt, oh, and I'll get the oil. And then you have the slaw, mayo, soy sauce, and sesame oil. Crispy noodles, and sesame seeds. And then for the sesame mayo, we have mayo and sesame oil. So first step, I'm going to start with the rice. So this is 1.5 cups of rice. I'm just gonna open it. The directions are for the stove, but I'm just gonna use a rice cooker because it's easier and I have more confidence in it. Alright, so for the rice, I put the rice in, I kind of rinse off some of the starch, and I'm going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I am going to add 2.5 cups of water, so this is a 1/2 cup. Alright, the next step is to cut the chicken and to get that prepped. Use this knife. Here's the chicken. I'm gonna cut the chicken and put it in this bowl with the Japanese spice flour. Alright, I've got all the chicken cut up and I've put it in the bowl. Now it looks like that with the Japanese flour. I'm going to mix it in. Next step is to heat the oil in the pan and then fry up the chicken. Alright, time to add the chicken in the pot. So while the chicken cooks, I'm going to prep the slaw. So I have the slaw. I'll just add all the ingredients and combine and get some mayo and sesame oil too. The last step is to make the sesame mayo. I'm going to use this tiny little bowl. Have 2 tablespoons mayo and 1/4 teaspoon sesame oil. Alright, the chicken's looking this way right now. I'm going to just start flipping it. While the chicken finishes cooking, I'm going to mix up the sesame mayo and the flour. The chicken's looking good right now. Alright, so I think the chicken's done, and I'm going to just put it on a paper towel to drain off the excess oil. Well, I think I said the last step was to salt the chicken, but I take that back. The last step is to plate the meal.
What do you think?
It's alright.
What all is in this one?
So the chicken's coated with the Japanese flour, and then the mayo is mayo and sesame oil, and then the slaw has mayo, sesame oil, and soy sauce. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like all the ingredients. Yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty simple. I don't think it's as tasty as HelloFresh. I'm not sure. I think HelloFresh uses more fresh herbs and spices.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also the bargain version of my food bag, so I think it's good.
Tastes pretty good.
Alright, meal number 2 is this red pesto grilled fish with veggie chips. And here's the recipe. Alright, I'm gonna start gathering the stuff. So I have all the ingredients for this meal. I'm just gonna use half of this because it's shared with another meal. And then I ran out of mayo, so we're gonna use garlic aioli instead. That's one of the pantry items. So the first step is to preheat the oven, which I've done, and to boil a pot of salted water, which is going right now. So I did 1 and 2, and number 3 is to prep the pesto, mayo, and the greens. So mix the pesto and mayo together, set aside, and then prep the broccoli and spinach. So I'm going to do the mayo thing first. So I just took everything out of the oven. We have the fish, the potatoes and carrots, as well as the vegetables and the sauce.
Okay, so there's our food. There's the plate of randomness. So there's the fish, broccoli and peas with some sort of sauce, and then potatoes and carrots. So,
this is how my plate looks.
ta-da!
I tried a little bit, and I really like the pesto mayo sauce, and yeah, that's really good.
Okay, so what is the, you've got it, chicken noodle soup. So that's the meal tonight. Gourmet chicken noodle soup. We'll have to see how good this stuff is.
So the first step is to preheat the oven to 220 Celsius.
Okay. Let me take a look at the back of there.
And bring a pot of water to boil.
Okay, preheat oven. What all do we even have in here? We've got chicken thighs, ginger, garlic, some mystery pack of soup spices, bit of oil, bok choy, chicken stock, fish sauce, soy sauce, egg noodles, sesame oil. We got a bunch of stuff.
Alright, let's gather
Cool.
the stuff. So I gathered all the ingredients. These are the vegetable stock. Well, it says chicken stock, but I only have vegetable stock cubes. And then we have fresh egg noodles, sweet corn, a bok choy, a carrot, garlic and ginger, and the soup spice, and the chicken thighs, oil, sesame oil, soy sauce, and fish oil. So that's all we need. I cut Cut up the bok choy and the carrots, and then the chicken and the stuff is over there. I'm gonna have to mix it up and put it in the pot and fry it up.
Okay.
So Brian had to make sure we turn the thingy, the exhaust thingy. I'm going to put the chicken in the oil in the pot.
We are not having another fire alarm going off.
Instead of finely grating the ginger and the garlic, I just roughly chopped them because I'm just too tired anymore. Brian is monitoring the chicken. I'm going to get the corn ready, so I'm just gonna toss this with sesame oil and the rest of the spice mix. I have all the corn ingredients. I'm just gonna mix it up and put it on these this little baking sheet. All right, I'm gonna put this in the oven. Okay, so instead of chicken stock, we're putting these vegetable stock cubes in water. And we can put the bok choy in the soup. Waiting for these to cook, Brian has a little story to tell.
I guess it's story time. I had a 92-year-old lady as a patient today, and she brought her daughter along. And they had just got hearing aids fitted in Hamilton, which is like a 2-hour drive away, something like that. But they were here today, and they were panicking because they thought their hearing aids were just not working, and they were like almost ready to return them because they were so frustrated. And they got to the office with me, and so this will take a little bit of backstory to explain how this works, but she had rechargeable hearing aids. And normally with rechargeable hearing aids, once you take them out of the charger, they automatically turn on. They had no idea that their hearing aids were like half a generation old, and when you take them out of the charger, they don't turn on. You have to turn them on yourself. So they had come in thinking that their hearing aids weren't working, and halfway through the appointment, I went to connect their hearing aids to the computer, which you have to do by turning off and on. So I turned them on. I looked at them for like 2 seconds when I realized that I just turned them on. They were off the entire time. So they had no idea that the entire weekend their hearing aids were just off. They just didn't know how to turn them on.
What?
Yeah. So
all weekend long. Today's Monday.
Long. This poor 92-year-old lady with a touch of dementia and her daughter that couldn't figure out that they just had to turn the hearing aids on.
What the? Okay, that is funny.
So they were laughing their heads off when they were leaving, but that was my favorite appointment of about the month. So.
Back to checking on this. Has it been 10 minutes yet?
It will be 10 minutes and 3 minutes for this thing.
Okay.
And this thing still has another 4 minutes after that.
Okay. Brian's fishing for the chicken to put on the plate so he can shred it up like pulled pork. But no, not really, like pulled chicken. I'm gonna get these noodles in the water.
Okay, so corn is out of the oven.
Oh.
Yep, you can stick it there. Simmering a little too much.
Are we supposed to shred the chicken?
Is that the next step? Yeah? Maybe? Maybe we should read.
I roughly shredded the chicken and I'm just gonna put it back in the soup. Not yet?
Read the directions first.
I'm super tired. I can't wait for dinner.
Yeah. I'm tired too.
It's been such a cold day, and it's like the shortest day of the year, but no Christmas, and it's making me feel really, really
There's like
sad.
no holidays in New Zealand over winter. It's like completely empty of holidays. There's like nothing till Labor Day, and that's like in October.
I think so.
This is like
Is that when the
start
Labor
of
Day is?
spring almost.
No, there's nothing. Like, not even a day off from work, and no Christmas, no Thanksgiving, no New Year's. Nothing. And this weekend's the shortest weekend of the year, or shortest day of the year, because it's winter solstice. And Well, we're eating hot soup, but
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm such a noodle person. I love me some noodles.
Okay, we almost done. We have our soup, our noodles, our rice, and now it's turning into.
Tiny little bowls. I hope
Okay.
it fits.
I'll get my own noodles. But you can. No, leave. Let me get mine.
Also, I'm just plating mine.
You're just plating yours.
So I got the noodles, putting some corn, and then this is done.
Okay, that's done.
Then
Okay.
this is how it looks.
Final product looks pretty nice.
What's your verdict, Brian?
This is really good. That corn is actually really good. Like, nicely fried or toasted or whatever you want to call it.
Alright, we're down to 2 more options, and Brian picked the meatloaf. First step is to preheat the oven and grease a medium baking dish with oil or butter. So our first dilemma is figuring out which baking dish to use. The instructions say to use a 20 by 25 cm baking dish. We have a 9 by 13. Is it a 9 by 13? And also a 9 by 5. Yep. So I think we're just gonna use the big one, the 9 by 13. So here it is. Trying to grease this pan, but we don't have a pastry brush, so I gave up putting butter on it, and right now I'm putting oil on it. Alright, so I've gathered all the ingredients for this recipe. We have the potatoes and half of this cheese, a carrot, a parsnip, this parsnip's looking a little bit sad, an onion, and then an egg, soy sauce, ground beef, half a bag of frozen garden peas, the other half was already used, a head of broccoli, and breadcrumbs. The other ingredient we don't have is the tomato sauce, ketchup. That's gross. I don't like ketchup, so I'm just not gonna put that in. And then butter and milk. We do have that. Of course we do. Butter, and then our milk's in the fridge. Alright, we don't have a grater. I'm supposed to grate the carrots and the parsnip, but I'm just gonna use this thing and use the smaller one and just go for it. Instead of grating the carrots and the parsnip, I'm just gonna like cube them in little things because it's just a lot easier and we don't have a grater. So over here it says heat oil in a frying pan and cook the onions, carrot, and parsnip for about 4 minutes until tender. Alright, so I got the oil. I got the oil here. And I'm just gonna put in all the carrot, parsnip, onion mix and get that cooking. So while that cooks, I'm going to get step 3 put together. So in a large bowl, combine the beef, which is right here. Okay, the beef, egg, breadcrumbs, soy sauce, salt, and half the cheese. Alright, the water's boiling and that's for the potatoes. So I'm gonna just start washing the potatoes and throwing these in. And I got the potatoes in and I'm gonna fry up this parsnip carrot mixture until it's golden brown, but back to preparing the stuff for the meatloaf. So I got the cheese. I don't have a shredder, so I just used the vegetable peeler and the knife. And I'm just gonna mix it in the bowl. So right here is all the ingredients for the meatloaf. and put it in the prepared dish and shape it in a loaf. Alright, so this meal is just a pain in the butt, but so I got the meatloaf stuff. I didn't grate the cheese, so it's a little chunky. But right now I'm ready for it to bake this for 25-30 minutes. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this in. And then we have the potatoes and then the parsnip. I'm not sure what I'm doing with that yet. We'll see what the recipe says. So the meatloaf is in the oven. So we got that done. We prepped the onion. Yep, that's done. And then we combine all that stuff. Oh shoot, I forgot to add the mixed vegetables in. Alright, so the glitch is I did the meatloaf but I forgot to put the mixed vegetables in it. So I'm just gonna remix it right now and put it in the oven again. Round 2. Alright, round 2 in the oven. Now with the vegetables. And it's not looking good because we didn't grate the stuff. But anyway, next step. Alright, so I just washed that large bowl and I am just about to put the potatoes in here instead of draining it and then trying to mash it with the fork and add the butter and the milk. Once the potato's done, it goes in here with a 1/4 cup of milk and the butter and then the broccoli right there, and then I need to put the peas in the hot water, in the boiling water, and then it goes in with the broccoli. We fish the potatoes out right now. To the rescue, he's the pro masher.
Really?
I just took the meatloaf out of the oven. This is how it's looking. It's not very pretty, but whatever. The peas are just cooking up, and then we drain it, mix it with the broccoli and salt and pepper it, and then the mashed potatoes are looking
Half mashed.
We got the mashed potatoes, the vegetables, which are peas and broccoli, and then the meatloaf here. Only thing we didn't add in there was the ketchup. Ryan's on a diet. He's just taking a tiny bit of vegetables and mashed potatoes in a little bowl. Are you gonna get the meatloaf? Yeah. Alright. So here's my plate. I have the meatloaf, the potatoes, and the vegetables. I'll probably get some salt or seasoning mix just to go in the mashed potatoes because it's not salted at all, just buttered and milk. There we go. So on today's menu we have the pulled beef and cheese pizza. So let's get the ingredients around. Alright, so we have all the ingredients here. Actually not quite, we are missing a few, but that's alright. We'll just continue without those ingredients. That's the sweet chili sauce and the Dijon mustard and mayo, which I'm just going to replace with the aioli. So we have the pulled beef, cheese, and then the apple, carrot, which is looking a little sad, and the lettuce is for the salad, and then these are the ingredients for the pizza. We have the pizza base, a tomato paste, spices, and the onion. Our first step is to preheat the oven. Right, so the next thing says to prep the onion, which I've done, and to set half aside. And then heating the oil up in the pan, which is right here, and cook the first measure of onions for 2 to 3 minutes. So this is, we have the onion right here, and the first measure is about half of it. So I'm gonna get half of it and cook this half for about 2 to 3 minutes. Alright, so the next step is to put the pizza base and spread it with the tomato paste.
What you done with the cheese?
Shred it or grate it or whatever. So I have put the tomato paste on the pizza bases, and Brian's cutting up the cheese to put on top of this. So I'm adding the pulled beef spices in the onions. So I added 2 tablespoons water, and then I'm gonna add the pulled beef in this mixture here. Alright, so we don't really have a grater, so Brian just cut the cheese up, and I'm going to sprinkle it on top of the pizza base, just like that. This is an interesting pizza. This is definitely a New Zealand style pizza with the type of toppings that are on it. Anyway, so we got the onions, and then we're gonna get some tomatoes. Right, there we go, into the oven for about 15 minutes. For the salad, I sliced up an apple and cut up the carrots and then the lettuce. And I pretty much just have to add the rest of the ingredients and toss it around. So, mayo, Dijon mustard, and vinegar. I don't really have any of those, except I do have a balsamic vinegar. But I'm just gonna add aioli instead of the mayo, and add a little bit extra and add the balsamic vinegar. So here are our leftovers. We have 2 more pizza bases. And then right here we have the pulled beef and the onions and tomato paste and the tomatoes. And we're gonna have to get more cheese around. And then here's the salad. I didn't really follow the recipe. I just added the stuff. I added the aioli instead. I sliced up the apples, and instead of grating the carrot, like the carrot was kind of limpy to begin with. It was just pretty bad, in pretty bad shape. I even had a hard time grating it. And instead of vinegar, I added balsamic vinegar, and then I added, instead of Dijon mustard and mayo, I added just aioli in it. So here's the salad, and then the pizza's about ready. Alright, I believe the pizza's done. Let's check it out. Got my oven mitt on, and there we go. It's looking good. That's one of them, and the other one. Here it is. That's the pizza. It's okay. This is the difference between New Zealand style pizza and normal pizza, is that they tend to put a lot of weird sauces on it. One of the things in the recipe, it says to drizzle sweet chili sauce on it. That's a very New Zealand thing to do. We don't have it, but
We don't need it.
we don't need it either.
Yeah.
But
I just gotta figure out.
yeah, so
how
that's the. And here's the salad to go along with it. Salad actually doesn't look half bad.